The Square Ball Podcast.
With the able assistance of Levi solicitors, the TSB jury is now assembled. It's us three.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
I get called up for this every week.
I know, jury service. Yeah, it's dragged on.
Distracting me from my music.
We have 2 awards to give out. We have the Ken Bates Villain of the Week award. While we pore over the choices for that, we can assign some petty grievances if we like. Take some cheap shots at people who featured in our world this week. And we've also got to do the Gaetano Berardi Hero of the Week award. We can look at the scores that were sent in by our TSB Plus members as well that contribute towards the Player of the Season award that we will possibly give out if we feel like it at the end of the season. And
it does feel like a season that will deserve a Player of the Year. I will say that much.
Yeah, without a doubt, because some good things are happening. And we've got to do the Gaetano Berardi Hero of the Week award. We can give some formal commendations out. We can doff the cap to some people who've done some fine work this week. So you are each going to take it in turn to step up to the legal hockey and say who you think should be the Villain of the Week. Then we will discuss, dissect, digest, and other things beginning with D. Decide.
Dick around.
Are you dicking around first, or is it Rob?
Shall I dick around first?
Go on.
There's 2 separate nominations, but we've kind of coupled them together for Leicester's invisible midfield. As Brett says, that daft twat Winks for not backing up his shit talking. Was it actually Harry Winks that was the shit talker?
If he probably was talking, but no one was listening, no noticed.
It's a bit, if Harry Winks plays football, but nobody noticed. Did he actually play football? But yeah, we were sort of touched upon it in the match ball, but I hate Harry Winks. He's just rubbish and boring. And it was after after the game, I went down a bit of a petty rabbit hole looking at why I hate him so much. But it's because you get journalists like Henry Winter.
Can I just say it feels like you're undermining your own argument here, Rob, because you've already said petty. You've used the word petty. We've signed petty grievances.
But pettiness is what it's all about, isn't it?
That's
a bit of petty villainy. But yeah, you used to get journalists like Henry Winter saying, why are England building a midfield around Harry Winks? And you sort of look at it and go, he doesn't do anything. And I was finding articles where Henry Winter's comparing him to Paul Scholes and Glenn Hoddle and saying, look, England, we always do this, we waste these talents. And you sort of look and think...
Did someone really compare him to Glenn Hoddle?
Yes, I think I might even have the article still open. But,
wow.
Yeah.
I mean, I didn't see Glenn Hoddle in his prime. I just remember kind of very late era player-manager kind of Glenn
Strolling
Hoddle.
around as a sweeper.
But he was still good. And I've seen videos of Glenn Hoddle being really good.
When he was singing with Chris Waddle, for example.
Yeah, whereas I look at Harry Winks' record, and he seems to have scored 3 goals in his life.
He did really well getting relegated last season, didn't he, with Sampdoria? Last season?
Yes, that was last season.
Is that where he was?
Apparently so, yeah. Right. Again, nobody noticed. Right. But yeah, we paired him.
Strolled through passport control, no one even noticed him.
Who is this guy? Right, okay, Michael, step up to the legal hockey, deliver some...
No, I think we need to hear more on...
Do we?
We've still got to pair him with their fellow invisible midfielder, who, again, Dan, you have forgotten, but...
the North's Premier Wedding venue?
Kieran Bartley High Street, or whatever he's called. But yeah, after he was talking about all these tricks that Leicester have got up their sleeve, and he was saying, we've not even scratched the surface with what we're going to do under that bald fraud. And yeah, did you see him until the end? Nah. Were there any tricks? I didn't see any.
We brought on Luke Ayling to allow him a header. Yeah. That's all we did.
And he still couldn't score it.
Yeah, okay. Step up, Michael, please.
Was tempted to go bald fraud, Maresca. Mm-hmm. And I think he certainly deserves acknowledging for that. And Billy B, likewise, as I am.
I mean, you've already taken some cheap shots for his lack of hair, though.
I'm a bald man, and he's making us all look like frauds, which is a fair point. But I think it needs to be Dean Smith, because apparently, I think we were either busy celebrating or had started the match ball by then. But apparently, he said he would have expected him to save that late header, Di Mellier, which just isn't true. It was right in the top corner, and I think added to his previous crimes as Villa manager, being a general moaning twat, he was very keen on his Brentford team diving around a lot as well, which obviously then took with him to Villa. I just think it's overdue for him.
Yeah, because I think out of the two, you've got a lot of egg on face when it comes to Winks and Dewsbury Hall, and we can kind of laugh at them. They've not been villains. They've not caused us misery over the last 7 days. Whereas Dean Smith's face does always cause me misery, so I'm very much heavily leaning towards Dean Smith. And his triple haircuts as well, that is worth reiterating, mentioned on the match ball. Look at Dean Smith, he's got 3 separate haircuts going on at once. The sides, the fringe, and the top bit are all different from different haircuts.
It reminds me a bit as well of. It's weird because it doesn't really look all that much like him.
And I'm aware that that's a cheap shot, by the way.
It is a cheap shot. But he also slightly reminds me of, what's he called, the 30p Lee fella, that...
Lee Anderson.
Lee Anderson.
Tory MP.
Sort of reminds me a bit of him in a way as well.
Is he your favourite MP?
No, he isn't.
Where does he rank in your top 10, top 5?
He's somewhere... I don't know. I was going to say somewhere towards the bottom, but Christ, it's congested down there. There's a lot of competition, isn't there? Yeah, he sort of reminds me of him with his hair as well.
Yeah.
And I can imagine they might be mates, which puts me off him even more, even though it's a fictional friendship.
I was going to say that's an entirely constructed
thing. Completely made up.
Great stuff.
So I'm judging him for that too.
Yeah, I mean, to be fair, as much as I have a irrational hatred of Harry Winks, that the same applies to Dean Smith. So I'm easy.
Yeah, he has crossed us quite a bit in the last sort of 5 to 10 years, hasn't he?
Yeah, I mean, he's fading away now because it seems no one will give him a job, which is good. Yeah. And he's not to be confused with Dean Smith, the Leeds fan actor, who's a fine man.
Yes.
A fellow actor.
I was going to say, you're an actor as well, aren't you?
Musician, actor, builder. Is there a limit to your talents, Michael?
You're forgetting electrician, roofer,
solicitor,
model.
Yeah.
You're really wasted on you, right?
Football coach. The coach, obviously.
And yet you find yourself most weeks flogging a fanzine under the tunnel.
Wait a second. I need to flog a calendar as well. There you go. Buy this calendar. Some months in it and that.
Yeah.
It's all good. It's all good Leeds goals.
All for charity, that, by the way.
Won't go out of date.
Yeah.
Which is key.
Can now be written on, has 29 days for February. The full shebang. It's the full package this year, isn't it?
The full package of a calendar with the correct days on.
And space to write stuff on. But yeah, that's available at thesquareball.net if you want to do that. Buy that. And every penny is going to the Leeds Cancer Centre. Every penny of profit on those. Back to Dean Smith. I did like Jelly's message, which says, wasn't pleased with him shrugging off Melié's late wonder save despite its obvious quality. The kind of joyless attitude I'd expect from a former child chess champion. It's easy for you to say. And he thanks Wiki there, does Jelly, for pointing that out. But he's also described him as a clueless, ugly, boring bastard. Which, again, very much into cheap shot territory, but, you know.
Absolutely fine, though.
Anybody else you want to mention then? Maybe some petty grievances you want to address, some more cheap shots you want to take?
I mean, if we're just going to criticise people's looks, Vardy gets a bit of criticism for his face. His rodent features have always reminded me of a 1980s glue sniffer.
Right.
Which I've always quite liked about Vardy, actually. I've quite appreciated the fact
his glue habit?
Yeah, that he looks like he could be just terrorising people on a street corner.
Slightly feral.
Yeah, like he's got a kind of vibe of a council estate drug dealer about him.
Yeah.
But, you know, he's done well for himself, so fair play.
Yeah, good lad. Good lad. And he very much isn't a council estate drug dealer. Another talent of yours, you invaded my dreams last night.
I thought you were going to say drug dealer. I was going to say not
on the recording. No, you were in my dreams last night, and we were about to climb Kilimanjaro.
Oh wow!
Wow!
Yeah.
You probably wouldn't have managed to complete it as you didn't complete the walk this summer.
I had very badly infected blisters on my feet.
Well,
Don Goodman gets a mention.
I mean, it's obligatory, isn't it?
Yeah. Also in the punditry.
Someone here saying they know Don Goodman's sister.
Right.
And she's sound.
Right.
She
got all the good side of the gene pool.
Yeah, he does precede that by saying, Don Goodman, what a fucking helmet. Which, again, nice and succinct.
Yeah, and one nomination for the Dickhead Ref as well. In fact, a couple for the Dickhead Ref, but he was actually the highest rated referee of the season.
Okay.
According to TSB Plus members.
What did he get? Let's have a look. The Dickhead Ref got...
It was still like under 5.
4.91, yeah.
But best of the season.
Right. Yeah. Fair enough. And that was for what? Booking Farker?
For booking Farker, yeah. And someone also complained he didn't give us penalties, but they weren't penalties, so fine. I'll let him off.
Thanks, Alice, for the nomination there. Right. Anything else there, or are we happy to decide on it being... Oh, Chowdhury didn't get a mention. I don't know whether... I think Chowdhury would have been a genuine candidate for his vicious assault on Crescencio Somerville.
I feel like it was funny because he just embarrassed himself by getting thrown over by a very small boy.
Yeah, yeah. So actually, in many ways, he could be hero of the week for allowing that to happen. The big baby. Right, it's going to be... Yeah, it's going to be Dean Smith, isn't it, again? Yeah. Fine. Let's move on to Katana Baradi Hero of the Week awards. Top scorers in the player ratings for Leicester: man of the match, Glenn Kamara. Farke got over 9 as well for how he handled that match, which is great. And then in the 8s, you got Rodon, Meslier, Ampadu, Rutter, Strauch, and everyone was good.
Everyone who started.
Yeah. It's only the subs
Did really well.
It's only the subs who tend to score lower, isn't it, when you win like that?
Joel Pirro, the lowest of the starters, 6.68.
Which I think is probably about fair.
Needs a goal.
Yeah, and he'll get one.
Is it a drought?
Not yet. He'll get one against.
Is it a barren spell?
He'll get one against the Pilgrims, against Plymouth. And it factors in to our Player of the Year contest, which is very tight at the top. Crescencio Somerville, 7.32 average out of 10. Ampadu, 7.30. Wow.
There's a little bit of a gap then. Well, Farke's 7.25. There's then a little bit of a gap, but then there are also 0.27 separating 8 players.
Wow. I'm sure that'll spread as the season wears on.
You're kind of saying with Phil, actually, weren't we, how the starting 11 feels kind of established now.
Yeah.
And it's really coming through in these ratings as well, that it's just the better players are the ones we're playing, and they're all in the team, and it's all quite sensible at the moment. It doesn't feel like there's any scope for a weird selection.
One of you needs to step up to the league, Lockie, and presumably nominate Glenn Kamara for Hero of the Week. And so the other person is going to have to go a long way to...
I'm going to start, and I'm going to say Joe Rodon.
Right.
I just like him. I find him incredibly reassuring at the back. I feel like we've not looked this solid in defence for years. And we've only really looked bad when he's not been in the team this year.
I was also actually going to nominate him just on the strength of Brian and Jax's comment, which is, well, he specifically nominated Joe Rodon's face and said it's like having an extra fullback on the pitch.
His face?
Yes.
Right.
That rugged piece of granite could stop a meteor plummeting to Earth.
Granite, we're not calling it granite anymore.
Granite? I don't know.
I'd go granite.
It is. Granite, yeah. Shame he wasn't
Like
around to
Granite
save
Xhaka.
Yeah, that's it. Granite Xhaka, is that what it's called?
Yes, correct.
Shame he wasn't around to save the dinosaurs. But I do sort of have a thought with Joe Rodon that we need to just sign him on loan forever, because it's kind of Leeds Championship heritage that we sign a centre-half on loan and he's great, and then we get him permanently and they turn to shit. So I'm a bit worried about that. So maybe we just loan him for the rest of his life.
He's saying we dodged a bullet not getting Ben White.
Yeah, it'd have been terrible, that guy's not amounted to anything.
Although I am concerned about Ben White.
His physical transformation.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. He's gone a long way. If you look at pictures of him when he was on loan in Leeds kits, he was just this kind of, this pasty boy.
He's kind of like reverse Michael Jackson, isn't he?
Yeah, well, he's spending a lot of time on sunbeds and a lot of time in the hair salon, and he's kind of gone orange with blonde tips.
Fair play to him.
Well, whatever makes you happy. Whatever makes you happy. I know he's not really into football, is he?
Aaron and Calvin still mates? Because they were always hanging around with each other, weren't they, at Leeds? I wonder if they're still going on holiday together and stuff.
I'd like to think Calvin's realised he's just a bit weird now, isn't he?
Yeah, maybe. He's moved. I don't want to be friends with someone from London.
They're odd down there. So, Rob, you get to bring home Glenn Kamara and presumably win this award.
Well, yeah, it's Glenn Kamara, isn't it?
Yeah.
He was class.
Yeah.
And when was the last time we signed a really good central midfielder? Oh, well, Ethan Ampadu, I guess.
Well, yeah, before this season.
Before that.
Yeah, we got 2 at once, didn't we?
That can't be right.
So Calvin Phillips was ours. So when he was a boy.
Mateus Click.
Yeah.
And even that sort of was a bit wrong.
I was going to say, it took a year to realise he was any good, didn't it?
So it sort of feels like Glenn Kamara's a bit of a cheat code for Leeds United anyway.
It's almost like we've changed a director of football and we're no longer going for really speculative moonshots.
Yeah.
And we've just gone, like, these, like, played loads of games for Finland. He's probably quite good.
Yeah.
Just buy him.
Yeah. Yeah. Is the right age, mature. Yeah. I'm all over it. Do you know what? There's actually an argument to say that Joe Rodon is more important to this team in the sort of wider whole season sense than Glenn Kamara is. You could probably take Kamara out and we'd be fine. But it's Hero of the Week, isn't it? Not Hero of the Season.
That's true, I suppose. Or do we? But I mean, Rutter's been nominated by several people as well. Alice describes him as having pure golden retriever happiness and goodness.
Yeah.
Which is...
He does have goodness in his heart, doesn't he?
He
can
does.
tell, yeah.
He's a joyous boy.
Like if you were watching an 80s kids movie and he was one of the characters in it, you'd really root for him.
I wrote for the blog about the photo of him hugging Luciano Becchio, which Becchio posted after the game. And I just don't really understand why Jorginho Rutter is so happy to see Luciano Becchio, other than the fact that it's Jorginho Rutter. But I'm just sort of like, how does he really know who Becchio is and why is he so happy to see him? But it's lovely all the same. He's really giving him a massive hug and he's just grinning from ear to ear.
And Jelly, just to bring Jelly back into the conversation, is so happy with Rutter. He's willing to listen to Moscow making tedious Wi-Fi puns.
Yeah, it says he's even willing to make some himself, saying he's in a hot spot of form. And something about dialing up.
You couldn't dial up his performances. Yeah. It's getting tenuous now, isn't it?
It's all right, though. Don't mind. And we also need to obviously mention Meslier as well.
Yeah.
Because of that late save, which he should have made, and it was quite easy, according to Dean Smith. Dean Smith would have headed it off the line.
Is there an argument for the court to overrule your two primary suggestions and give this to Meslier?
There is a few shouts as well for just the whole team. Because likewise, we have some shouts for Sam Byram.
I think, can we formally commend the whole team?
Yeah, I think that's fair.
Yeah, because also, like, Ampadu, rated really highly, was brilliant, didn't get a single nomination, just because this is what people expect from him. He's just very good every single week. So,
do you know what? This is tough. This is tough. We may have to genuinely vote on this.
Firpo gets a doff of the cap.
No.
Sarah nominates him.
Well, he's managed to be fit enough to travel to Leicester and be on the bench. That's good.
Yeah, he stayed heroically sat down. Is what he was nominated
let's
for.
see if he can build on that performance.
Safest thing for him.
Heroically sat down. That's tickled me. God, talk to me about Meslier then.
Well, you saw it, didn't you? He didn't have anything to do all game, did he? And then,
but when called upon in the vital moment, he delivered, didn't he? So Kamara was consistently good over the whole game, but Meslier did the match-winning thing, didn't he?
But it's about timing, isn't it? Because if he makes that save on 20 minutes, he doesn't win it, does he?
That's true.
But then again, that didn't happen, so maybe he's stupid to judge it on that.
Here's the thing that didn't happen, but what if it did?
What if the thing had happened? It would be different. Yeah, it would. Stupid argument.
You're an idiot. Debater,
Sorry.
you can add debater to the list.
Sorry, everyone.
What do you think then?
Just thinking about my next album.
Is it Glenn Kamara or Illan Meslier?
I'd go Kamara. He was man of the match. Look how happy, again, Jorginho Ruta was to give him that man of the match award. He couldn't wait. He was giving him it before the interviewer even asked him to.
That is true.
Yeah. All right. Fine. Yeah. And Meslier the whole team gets a formal commendation, but Meslier gets a special badge.
That's fine. I'm happy with a special badge for him.
Yeah. A theoretical special badge. Any other people that you want to mention then, just in dispatches before we head off and go? People who might deserve just a little nod, doff of the cap, anything like that?
I mean, Bald Fraud does get a nomination for picking 48-year-old Vardy instead of Iheanacho, which made it physically impossible for Rodon and Strout to get caught on the turn.
Yeah.
It's funny, isn't it? I've been so worried about Vardy when we've played him in recent years. Then you saw him the other night and you're like, oh, wow.
He's got old.
That's finished, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Doesn't really look to be a thing anymore, that whole fast thing Jamie Vardy was doing, but
I guess from their point of view, from Leicester's point of view, it's a little bit like we're experiencing with like Luke Ayling now, seeing a man whose powers are diminishing, and you don't want it to happen. But equally, he's not on our team. He's previously been with our big rivals, Halifax Town.
That's very true. And he's not doing badly to say he's on the glue.
When making things with his kids.
He's the glue that holds that team together.
Yeah, when he's using the PVA and the Uhu.
Yeah. Covers his hand in it, peels it off.
Yeah.
Oh, my skin's come off.
Like a glove. Yeah, that was always fun at school when you used the wood glue, wasn't it? Yeah.
I might get some PVA now to do that when I ever go at it again.
Right, we will wrap it up there then. We'll be back with some more heroes next week, some more villains next week, some commendations, some doffs of the cap. What else can we do?
Don't know. Say nice one, mate.
Some badges.
Good. Have a badge.
Head badge maker. That could be another one. Another string to your bow. We'll catch you next time.
The Square Ball Podcast.